What is going on, y'all? Gamers Goon here today with your college football week number 10 video, prediction video. Last week was a decent week for us. I know it's a day late than usual. There's some games yesterday. Spoiler alert, I probably would have got them wrong. I actually did get the Sam Houston game wrong. I thought Sam Houston was going to lose that game. And I ended up being wrong. Anyways, wasn't able to get a video out yesterday. Got a little busy on Tuesday, which was yesterday, and on the time that it would have been recorded and released. Instead, we're going to be doing it a little bit later this week. It's Wednesday when you're going to be seeing this. I'm recording this Wednesday. But that is still before the Jacksonville State Liberty game at 6 o'clock. It is a 2-point game, meaning it is a game we are going to speak about. Both these teams, nothing too special. Jacksonville State 4-3 was super hyped up. Liberty 5-1. Thought maybe this could be that team to get the job done. Be this group of five or whatever it is, the non-power conference team that gets into it, being Conference USA. But Liberty lost to Kennesaw State. Kennesaw State not very good, but they got their win against Liberty. And to tell you how not great Kennesaw State is, they're opening up this week against Western Kentucky as 24-point underdogs, which is also tonight, believe it or not. But I'm going to take Liberty for a bounce-back game here. Last week, not great. Not great if you are a Liberty fan. Probably ended any hopes of a playoff spot if you are Liberty. Maybe they still do enter, but I think there is now an outside chance here. If Liberty were to win out and they did their thing and they would have beat Kennesaw State, maybe we're really talking about them. Okay, well, they're going to be a playoff team. I don't know if that's this team right now after losing to Kennesaw State. Don't know how the committee's going to see it. Committee actually should become, I think this week was the last week of just the AP poll. I think after this Michigan game, let me look it up. When is the first CFP poll? Yeah, November 5th. So next Tuesday is the first CFP poll. So this is the last weekend of just having the AP poll. So definitely look out for those rankings because the AP poll gives you a good baseline idea, but the CFP poll is really who we should be focusing on, who is going to be favored by the committee. So, for example, Liberty might not be top 25 anymore, but maybe the CFP poll does have them as a top 25 team. So that is the one you're looking for. You're not looking for the AP poll anymore, but Liberty, they should win this game against Jacksonville State. Jacksonville State, a very hyped up team. Hasn't been. I mean, they're 4-3. They're okay. They're okay, but I don't see the same team everybody else is talking about when it comes to Jacksonville State. I just don't see it. Thursday we got Tulane versus Charlotte. Tulane 6-2, Charlotte 3-5. Don't need to talk about that game. I don't know why I brought it up. It's a 16-point favorite. For some reason, I read it as a 6-point favorite, so we're going to actually skip that game. Friday, there's one game, actually two games we have to talk about. There's a ranked game on Friday. Florida Atlantic versus South Florida is not the ranked game, but it's a 2.5-point favorites for South Florida. Every time I've talked about Florida Atlantic this season, I've been telling you that I do not think they're good. South Florida wins this game. I like them to cover. Give me South Florida to do the job. And then we got number 15, Boise State. Ashton Jeanty looked human last week. And first off, 33 carries is ridiculous numbers. But Jeanty, 128 yards on the ground. Took 33 carries to get there. But 128 yards on the ground is what makes him look human. That's ridiculous. That is his worst game of the season by far, and he still put up 128 yards. San Diego State, let's see what they can do, but I like Boise State to win and cover the 23.5 points. I think this is going to be a big Ashton Jeanty game. A quick reminder of who he is. He's the guy that has been going crazy for 200-yard games left and right this season. He'll hit it again in this week, I imagine. I think that we're in for an Ashton Jeanty bounce back. Illinois versus Minnesota. Illinois versus Minnesota. Decent game here as well. This one is in Champaign. Not sure if I'm going to this or if I'm going to be going to the Big House this weekend to watch Oregon. But Minnesota, Illinois. Minnesota coming in as 3-point favorites. 5-3 Minnesota versus a top 24 Illinois who is 6-2, lost to Penn State in a close game. Oregon, the second half looked better, but the first half was a little rough. Illinois won the second half though. You lost to two of the top 3 teams in the country if you're Illinois. 24th is ridiculous. They had Michigan at 24th with a loss to Washington as one of their 2 losses. Illinois loses to 2 top 3 teams and is sitting at 24th. Illinois beats Minnesota. I'm not too concerned about Minnesota, to be honest with you. They are a team that has been winning lately. Now, last week they didn't need it, but against USC and against UCLA, the same kid, I believe, got game-winning interceptions on the last play of the game. So, Minnesota, a team you got to watch out for, but I think Illinois is the better team. Illinois has ran into 2 really good teams as their 2 losses, whereas you look at Minnesota's 3 losses. Minnesota has lost to Michigan. Illinois beat Michigan. They lost to Iowa, gave up 31 points to that Iowa team, and lost to North Carolina. So, Illinois, I know they're underdogs at home. Give me Illinois. Love them in this game. So give me Illinois to win this. And then the other game I said I might go to. Still debating on which one it is going to be because I do have season tickets for Illinois, but also Oregon doesn't come down to much. And you know, I'm Oregon through and through. Graduated from Oregon, so Oregon versus Michigan up in the Big House, not too far away. Not too far away. 14.5-point favorites. Oregon opens up. I think Oregon covers that. Michigan, Jack Tuttle just medically retired. Hopefully everything's all right. Hopefully everything's good. Hopefully medically he is okay. But Michigan at the QB position is miserable. Let's be honest. They are miserable. Who is going to be throwing the ball? I get the defense is allegedly solid, but you're looking at a defense that if Illinois can beat them, with Pat Bryant, Zachary Franklin, Oregon can easily beat them with Evan Stewart, Tez Johnson. Justice Lowe has been really solid for them. I don't think Terrence Ferguson will be playing. I know he's had appendicitis or something like that. Has been missing games. Kenyon Sadiq should be solid in this game. The run in this game, Jordan James should be solid. Defensively, though, you look at the team, one of the best defenses in the country at this moment in time, going up against a weak offense. I would say you like the matchups at corner with the receivers at Michigan, especially with a QB that can't really get them the ball that great. You look at the interior. There was some weird stuff going around in Michigan forums about, well, Oregon, they're a finesse team. They can't really handle all the strength, power, brute force power on the Michigan offensive line. Okay. Yeah, okay. that same line that did so great against Illinois, right? And then Oregon looked a lot better against Illinois than Michigan did. That same... I mean, you look at Ohio State, they're even better. Michigan fans, I'm sorry, but let's not talk ourselves into something your team ain't. There ain't no physical force that you guys have over Oregon. No. Oregon wins this game. I like them to cover. I like them to win big. This great defense or whatever we're saying it is when it comes to Michigan is not that good. Let's be honest, they're not that good. Evan Stewart will beat them deep. They beat Ohio State's corners deep. They made Ohio State look like not that great of a defense. Tez Johnson will be involved. This is going to be a nightmare for Michigan fans. Oregon wins big. I love them to cover that 14.5. Give me Oregon in the Big House. And then we got the game of the week. Ohio State, Penn State, the big one. Number 3 versus number 4. Ohio State coming in. One loss is against Oregon. Penn State undefeated. But Ohio State, a little shaky against Nebraska. Penn State, second half was great against Wisconsin. First half, a little shaky against Wisconsin. Both teams haven't came in necessarily at their best. But when you look at this, You look at two teams, Penn State, obviously they're going to try to establish the run. That's where they're best. I know Drew Aller, I think, came out of last game. I think he should be good to go. Questionable with a knee. I assume he'll play. But Penn State, they're gonna try to force the run, right? Ohio State, they got two running backs that, I mean, they're solid, but biggest game of the year, they were non-existent. Penn State, a very capable defense to get the job done. Don't expect the Ohio State running backs to really get going. The real question here is going to be whether Will Howard can get the job done with his arm. Can Jeremiah Smith get into space? Can Emeka Egbuka get into space? And I think they will. I like Ohio State to win the game. Ohio State is 3.5-point favorites. I do think they win. I don't know if they'll cover. I think this could be a very low-scoring game. I think this could be something where you're looking at maybe a 17-14. I don't think there's going to be a lot of fireworks here. Penn State, not necessarily a fireworks team on their offense. So if there are going to be fireworks, it's going to be a lot in the favor of Ohio State. If you had to ask me, I like it to be close. I think Penn State's defense will hold up. Give me Ohio State in a close one, but 17-14 Ohio State. Virginia Tech versus Syracuse, a 4-point game, favored in the Hokies' way. Virginia Tech, they're 5-3. Syracuse 5-2. Decent game here. I like the Syracuse team to get the job done. It's at home for them. 4 points spread. I like Syracuse here to win as underdogs. Ole Miss versus Arkansas. Arkansas 5-3. Ole Miss 6-2. 6-2 Ole Miss. Arkansas though, they have big wins. They beat Tennessee. They played close against A&M, so that's not a win at all. But they've had some decent games. But the biggest one being Tennessee. Ole Miss, on the other hand, you look at them, lost LSU, almost lost to. No, they didn't. They actually did lose to Kentucky. I was going to say almost lost to Kentucky. No, they did lose to Kentucky. Arkansas is one of them Kentucky-like teams that they get a good day. They can win some football games. I'm going with Arkansas to win and cover. Ole Miss, I don't believe in them as much as I thought I would. Team was really good on paper, hasn't been as great as expected yet. They're a 2-loss team, just like Illinois, but Illinois has the better resume. Think about that. Virginia, we already did that one. Stanford, we don't need to talk about. Northwestern Purdue is a 1-point favorite towards Northwestern. Purdue, 1-6. They ran into quite the problem with Oregon, 35-0. Purdue, I like them to win this though. They stuck with Illinois. Purdue, I think they're gonna figure things out. Oregon, just not the team you want to run into. Give me Purdue to win and cover that 1-point favored Northwestern's way. Memphis versus UTSA. Memphis is 7-point favorites coming into this game. Memphis 7-1. Like them to win that game. Should be pretty easy for them. I like them to cover as well. Army, Air Force. We ain't talking about this game because of spread. 22.5 for Army. Army, though, 7-0. They beat East Carolina. They play Air Force. Air Force, a 1-6 team. Army wins this game. Wins it big. Easily clears that 22.5. Army, they're on a path right now for the college football playoffs. You look at Army, their remaining schedule. North Texas, a little bit of a tricky game. Notre Dame is their hardest game left. UTSA, and then you get that Army-Navy game. So if Army can get past Notre Dame scot-free, we're talking about Army potentially being in that playoff spot. So look out for Army. I expect them to beat Air Force this week. Buffalo versus Akron. Buffalo, a 1-point favorite, 4-4 for Buffalo. Akron, 2-6. Buffalo should be favored more than a point. Akron, not a good football team. Give me Buffalo to win. Duke versus Miami. Duke is 6-2. Lost by a point to SMU. Miami, undefeated with 8 victories. Played close against Louisville. Should have lost to California. Should have lost to Virginia Tech. You know I'm not a fan of this Miami team. Refs got to stay out of this one. Give me Duke to win. Give me Duke to win. 21.5-point underdogs, though, so Vegas don't think Duke's going to be winning. Vandy versus Auburn, just at that sweet spot of a touchdown game. Vanderbilt, I do like to beat Auburn. Auburn is 7-point favorites. Vanderbilt, though, is the 5-3 team, and Auburn is not the 5-3 team. I believe they are 3 wins. My app just froze as I was clicking onto them. Technology, right? Auburn is 3-5. Never would have thought that at the beginning of the season, right? With Vandy's big wins, they almost beat Texas. 3-point loss to Texas, but they beat Bama. Played close against Missouri. This team's good. Give me Vanderbilt to beat Auburn pretty easily. Maine versus Oklahoma doesn't have a line. Oklahoma wins big. Tulsa versus UAB. UAB 3-point favorites at home. Tulsa 3-5. UAB 1-6. Not sure why UAB is favored here. Give me Tulsa. Old Dominion 4-4 versus 3-4 App State. Old Dominion 2.5-point favorites. Seem to like them there. App State has not been super impressive toward me. Florida versus Georgia. Georgia is 16.5-point favorites. Florida is 4-3. Georgia is 6-1. I like Georgia to win and cover. Pretty easy there. Florida has not been good this season. North Carolina versus Florida State. North Carolina is a 2.5-point favorite. Florida State 1-7. Really bad all season long. Give me North Carolina to win. UCLA versus Nebraska. UCLA 2 wins, 2-5. Nebraska 5-3. Nebraska almost pulled off the upset against Ohio State. Only 6.5-point favorites. I like them to cover and cover big. Give me Nebraska. 17th, Kansas State going up against Houston. Kansas State 7-1. Almost lost to Kansas. Houston 3-5. Got the job done against Utah. Tough little Utah team, but give me Kansas State to win. Don't think they will cover the 13.5 though. Indiana, number 13th in the country, with yet another impressive victory over Washington. 8-0 going up against Michigan State. 4-4 Michigan State coming off that loss to Michigan. 7.5-point favorites for Indiana. I like them to win and cover. Michigan State does not inspire me. UTEP versus Middle Tennessee. UTEP opens up as 3-point favorites. Middle Tennessee is 2-6. UTEP is 1-7. All right with the home team. I'll ride with the home team. Not sure if you guys caught that. My thing froze. I looked up and my thing froze. But Middle Tennessee versus UTEP. 3-point favorites for UTEP. I will ride with the home team on that one. Iowa State opening up as number 11th this week, coming up with a 13.5-point favored to Texas Tech, who is 5-3. I like this Texas Tech team. They stuck around with TCU. Didn't look great against Baylor, but they've won some games. They've lost some games. They stick around in some games. I don't know. Can't get a great read on them, but I like them to keep it close in this one. Iowa State, 13.5-point favorites. I think they win. Don't cover. Arizona versus UCF. Arizona opening up as 6.5-point underdogs to UCF. UCF, not sure why they're getting all this love. They lost to BYU last time out. Arizona lost to West Virginia last time out, but Arizona, in my opinion, is the better team. UCF always seems favored. Give me Arizona to win. Coastal Carolina versus Troy. 4.5-point favorites for Coastal Carolina. They are 4-3. Troy is 1-7. Give me Coastal Carolina to win and win bigger than that 4.5. What do we got next? Arizona State versus Oklahoma State. Arizona State 5-2. Oklahoma State 3-5. Oklahoma State has fallen off. Arizona State's kind of came out of nowhere. Arizona State opens up as 3-point favorites. I like that line. Give me Arizona State to win. Georgia Southern versus South Alabama. Georgia Southern 5-3. South Alabama 4-4. I'm not sure what to do with this game. I'll go with the favorite, South Alabama, 6.5-point favorites at home. USC versus Washington, 2.5-point favorites for USC. Washington is a 4-4 team. Both are actually. I like Washington to win it at home. A&M versus South Carolina. A&M 7-1, South Carolina 4-3. South Carolina stuck around in some games they shouldn't and got blown out in games they shouldn't. So, don't know what they're going to do. I think they're going to show up this week. Give me South Carolina to keep it close, but A&M probably wins and covers. It's 2.5, so if they win by a field goal, they cover. Give me A&M to cover, but I think it will be a good game. Louisville versus Clemson. Clemson 10.5-point favorites against Louisville. Louisville 5-3. Clemson 6-1. I like Louisville. To keep it close. Clemson, I get that they had the early hiccup against Georgia, but they've looked really good since then. Really good since then. Louisville, team we were kind of excited for, didn't really stick around. I think Louisville keeps it close, keeps it within the margin. I think I'm going to ride with Louisville to win. Do I think Louisville's going to win? You know what? I'm going to have some guts. I'm calling it now. Louisville wins. Wisconsin versus Iowa. Iowa 3-point favorites. Wisconsin 5-3. Iowa 5-3. Iowa blew out Northwestern last time out. Wisconsin lost by 15. Looked like they had a good thing going for them against Penn State, but ended up losing that game. Iowa, they win this game. It's a home game for them. I expect them to win. Tennessee versus Kentucky. Kentucky, one of those teams that can cause some problems. Tennessee just beat Bama. Kentucky, coming off of that Auburn loss. Kentucky, one of those teams that always makes you think, can they stick around? You get in the fourth quarter, Kentucky can win a game. I'm riding with Tennessee. Don't think they're going to cover. Pittsburgh versus SMU should be a good one. SMU, one of my teams that I've adopted, a team that I want to see in the playoffs. Pittsburgh, 7-win team as well. They are undefeated. SMU, 7.5-point favorites. Give me SMU to end Pittsburgh's undefeated season. Colorado State versus Nevada, 1.5-point favorites for Colorado State. Colorado State 5-3, Nevada 3-6. Give me Colorado State to win and cover. TCU versus Baylor. Baylor opens up as 3-point favorites. TCU 5-3, Baylor 4-4. Baylor, I like them. They're at home. Give me Baylor to win and cover. Anyways, thank you all for watching. This video will be up later today before the game. Sorry for not getting a video out yesterday. And tomorrow, obviously, the NFL video will be out. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.